This is Hidden Killers Week in Review.
A look back at the most prolific stories of the week.
This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring former FBI Special Agent and Chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program, Robin Dreeke.
The trial of Ashley Benefield is underway, the Black Swan murder trial, and it's going pretty fast. We're seeing a lot of witnesses take the stand. We're seeing a lot of testimony being given. And as this continues on, as I always say with any case, we can have all of our conjecture beforehand, but let's let it get to the courtroom before we make any judgments. And this is a case where I think that's important. Joining me to discuss, Robin Dreeke, retired FBI Special Agent, Chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. Let me ask you this. If someone is doing something, like in this case, she is saying that it was stand your ground self-defense. The court said earlier on, we don't believe that. But if she believes it, like truly in her heart believes it, and isn't lying, isn't out there trying to spin a tale or a story or some motive, but in her mind thinks there is danger here, whether it's based in reality or not, does that make her guilty of the crime if she truly felt threatened, even if she wasn't?
Yeah, it's a great question. Context matters a lot.
Yeah.
But in the court of law, just because you believe you're innocent doesn't make you innocent.
Mm-hmm.
True. So that's also part of it. But I think when we're going for understanding her mindset, that's an important factor to understand. So far though, maybe it's been there, but I haven't been able to find it. The critical things to me in here, there's a partnership between, as I see it, again, from limited data points I'm getting, between her and her mom. I really want to see more between the mom's influence on her in that context.
Yeah.
Her mind is so still young. It's been very malleable during this time period. You know, before the prefrontal lobe fully forms, roughly age of 24. So we're kind of in that ballpark.
Yeah.
And it becomes extremely susceptible to suggestion, especially if you've lived a sheltered life. Seems like I'm being demeaning, but I don't mean it in a demeaning way. A non-worldly experience, you know, where you're having a lot of things provided for you by people around you.
A charmed life.
There you go, a charmed life. And so, you know, when you bounce or possibly bounce from, you know, a life with mom to a life with a guy with a lot of money that is promising all these wonderful things, I think potential divided loyalties happen here because, I mean, again, this is just from what I'm seeing, because all of a sudden, you know, we're seeing instances where she's going to court to do battle potentially, and all of a sudden they go home together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then all of a sudden it's not snip, snap, snip, snap. You know, it's you know, so that's why this is really kind of crazy. That's why I still haven't seen the reason for her behavior come out, and I'm that's why I'm so curious about the relationship with the mom that I haven't really seen too much yet.
Well, it's interesting when you just kind of look at the behavior, and it's easier to understand Doug's behavior as well, because he believed he was going there to help her pack things up. They had an agreement. They were getting back together. They were going to go back to Maryland, I believe. And that's what was going on in his mind. But she had already, in the background, talked to her attorney and had set this whole thing up of, I'm scared. I need to have some protection here. I need to go somewhere where I'm going to be safe. But at the same time is telling him to come in and invite him. I mean, you can't have it both ways, is the reality of it. And yeah, you're going to upset someone. Not in any way does that excuse any sort of violence, but there is no evidence of violence, of him hurting her or anything of that nature, especially that day where he was shot. But yeah, you're going to make someone a little bit upset. If they came all the way across the country, they're going to pack you up and you're all thinking you're getting back together and suddenly you're not. Like, what is going on here? But then if you look at the heat of that moment of, if he got upset, maybe said something. And if she's perceiving that is going to turn into some sort of violent outburst, whether there's evidence for it or not in the past, if she's perceiving that, and through her spectrum of viewing all this, feels she's in danger, gets that gun out, and obviously she's fairly impulsive, and then fires at him. Is it stand your ground, or is it cold-blooded murder? I mean, it all kind of goes through the spectrum of what is she thinking at what time. But again, if one person is thinking one thing, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't excuse a crime either.
Yeah, I'm still going back to her inconsistent behaviors. She has very incongruent behaviors. And so in other words, as we've said numerous times, life follows a behavior arc, and which is very predictable, reasonable. And even when you get slight little outliers, those outliers from someone's behavior are caused by events, individuals, actions that cause an outlier. But then we come back center again to our normal behavior. With her, we're seeing these, again, just context I'm seeing, we're kind of seeing wild swings.
Yes.
And so wild swings don't happen in here necessarily. Wild swings are caused by external things that are causing wild things, unless she's completely psychotic. Well, we're not clinical.
Doesn't appear to be that way. Yeah.
There's no indication of that. So in other words, so there's something in her external world that is causing wild swings. Hence, that's why I'm really curious about the mother's influence, the input, or someone else. I don't care who it is, but there's an influence that's causing wild swings. But in those moments when she's alone with him, she seems to come back to a baseline with him. That's why this murder, this self-defense thing is really strange to me because now, granted, now we got to give an optic from his point of view. He's glasses half full. He seems to have rose-colored glasses when dealing with her, because from what we're seeing, he seems to only see her in this one arc, and then he's seeing a wild swing. But then the wild swing's happening when they're apart. But when they get back together again, it's kind of back to normal again, huh? See what I mean? So it's only when they're apart that she kind of deviate. What's happening in those moments? But see what I mean? So that's why it's kind of convoluted. There's a piece to this puzzle with input that's going into her brain that I haven't seen yet.
Want more of the podcast without the ads?
Then hit subscribe to the True Crime Today Premium Plus channel on Apple Podcasts.
Try it now for 3 days, absolutely free.
You'll get access to all of our extended advance ad-free episodes instantly.
So you can binge without the break. True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Search and subscribe now on Apple Podcasts.